right, everybody, welcome to the FTW Podcast, the wrestling world in all its laughable glory. My name is Harrison, and with me as always is Lee. Say hello, Lee.
Hello, hello.
Rob, say hello, Rob.
Hey.
And Garvin, say hello, Garvin.
Hey.
Tonight is episode 127 and is coming to you on August 14th, 2012. On tonight's show, we're going to be talking about the FTW Draft because there is not a damn thing else that matters. But we'll have the show with an hour and a half of that, so we're going to move on to other stuff. First up, we're having technical difficulty, so we did not record this show live. So it's going to be very an old school show as the way we used to do things. But if you're new to the show, check out FTWpodcast.com for more about us and how to get involved. You can reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, voicemail, text message, email. Everything's there. FTWlive.com. If you want to get involved, it's always a good time. But first off, we have some apologies that we have to give Lee. I'm going to let Garvin take the bullet.
Well, actually, I don't think Lee's involved in this. I mean, I need to apologize because I had a major panic attack this morning where I thought my Saturday was booked. So I was trying to get everyone to fulfill the first round of the draft today, Tuesday, instead of Wednesday like we had originally scheduled. So I was pretty much on everyone's ass trying to get that first round pick so that we can, we could announce everything on tonight's show, not just the first round pick as originally promised. We're still going to announce Joe's pick a little bit later on in the show, but we're not going to be announcing anyone else's pick until tomorrow morning because we couldn't get everyone's pick. I don't want to point fingers at who was the roadblock, but someone was standing in our way. So
I don't want to point fingers about who said Robbie E would win on last Sunday, but he didn't win, and
I seem to remember a couple members of this podcast swearing up and down that Robbie E was going to win.
Hang on a second.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't Rob, so that would eliminate Rob. So
and Lee's too smart to pick Robbie
absolutely.
E. So
absolutely.
Hang on. Was Robbie E the reason why you weren't able to get your pick in and had to delay the draft? Because if it
yes, it was. Yeah,
it was. Yeah. Oh, then what does it matter? Anyway, thank you, Garvin, for your apology. That was okay, buddy. Sometimes we get our schedules mixed up. Anyway, on to Impact. Rob, if you want, we'd like to dive a little bit into Impact. We had our Impact post-show / Hardcore Justice pre-show that we did last week. It was a blast. So if there's some stuff you want to leave out, that's fine. But I know we don't really want to rehash everything, but I gotta say the biggest thing that came out of there. Well, take it away. What do you think the biggest thing that came out of Impact would be?
I've got to say the biggest thing coming out of Impact would be Bully Ray defeating James Storm by pinfall. We had some aces and eights, chicanery and tomfoolery in the main event as usual. After the main event, that's when they laid out their threat to that they were coming for Bully Ray after that they were coming for Bully Ray Sunday at the pay-per-view. And that put a nice twist on things. But overall, I was surprised that Bully Ray actually got the win over James Storm with how hard they've been pushing James Storm since the tournament began. Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to talk to you about was RVD beating Magnus. We took some heat basically on the pro show, and we were talking about it that it seemed like Magnus should be better than he is. Like we talked about how, I mean, what would you bring up? That you had a really good point about him being.
I brought up that I brought this up after Impact on our pre-show for the pay-per-view, but I brought up that England traditionally has a history of producing very good, very sound technical wrestlers. And this is exemplified with people like Douglas Williams, Desmond Wolfe, the British Bulldog, William Regal. I mean, all of these great, great wrestlers, and I'm sure Lee can name a dozen more that I'm not even thinking of.
Absolutely, but continue.
But Magnus doesn't even. Magnus just doesn't seem to fit that mold. He just doesn't seem to be able to get his feet underneath him and get going.
Well, the interesting thing was when we tossed this out there, we took a little bit of heat for the Magnus comment, and if I could find it, I'd love to bring it up. But anyway, we took a little bit of heat on Magnus. You know what we said about him. Oh yeah, it was Nick on Facebook said he's no good in the ring. Or calling us out saying that he's no good in the ring, or he doesn't have a lot of TV time, and even when he does, it's like crap. It's stuff like that. Anyway. It's not that, like Rob's saying, it's not that he's not a good wrestler. It's just you look at Magnus and you look at all the things that, all of his pros, and you think you really should be better than you are. And not like a lot better, just enough to be like the next like Matt Morgan, I mean, there's nothing stopping Magnus from being a breakout star in TNA except for something. I don't know if it's he gets in his own way backstage or if he just can't seem to... I don't know. I guess he's the classic case of the 90%. You're 90% of the way there, but you don't have that last 10% to make you Austin Aries or RVD or James Storm.
I've got to say, I'm sorry, Rob.
Oh, go ahead, Lee. I'm sorry.
No. I was just going to say on Sunday he didn't produce the goods, in my opinion. And Sunday there was a couple of clear spots where you could tell that he didn't do, he wasn't very successful. The one that sticks out to me is when he was going down for the stairs. He was getting his head trapped on slammed into the stairs, and he completely missed it. Completely missed it. It was so obvious.
Yeah, it's little stuff like that, and when he's in the States, for some reason, he has trouble reaching the fans. He has trouble getting the desired reaction from the fans. He can't make the fans hate him. He can't really make the fans like him, and that's one of those key components that you got to have as a wrestler if you want to get major pushes. You have to be able to go out there and get the reaction you need to get from the fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Bully Ray and beat James Storm for pinfall, and then we're going to move on to Hardcore Justice. But Bully Ray, like you were saying, I mean, getting a solid push, and it was just and then the end of Impact. I mean, how'd you feel about that? I mean, the whole Aces and Eights video at the end, threatening Bully Ray. I mean,
Bully Ray either stepped up his acting ability a lot, or they didn't tell him that segment was coming, because I mean, just the look on Bully Ray's face after Aces and Eights says, "Yeah, we're going to get you." Sunday at the pay-per-view. He's looking around. He's like, "What? They're coming after me?" I mean, he's just looking like, "Wait, what?" I mean, he's got this look of abject confusion on his face. Like, seriously?
That would be seriously awesome if they didn't tell him. They just sent him out there and they told him it was going to be against James Storm, and then they get out there and they call out Bully Ray. I mean, talk about getting a great left field out of him. All right, so this is something that we talked about a lot in our post Impact pre Hardcore Justice show. The fact that Impact really didn't sell Hardcore Justice. The one point that was brought up is that this is something that Lee and I agreed on. Impact was a fantastic Impact if Hardcore Justice was a week away as opposed to 4 days.
Yeah, it wasn't
3 days.
Or 3 days, sorry.
It just wasn't. It wasn't. The whole normal sell for the pay-per-view. It just Bully Ray's going to headline. They've got the contract signed. The segment before the finish. It didn't feel like they wanted to push the pay-per-view. It did feel secondary, completely secondary.
Yeah, it almost felt like they were like, "Hey, while you're out picking up milk, if you don't mind watching our pay-per-view, that'd be fantastic." And then when you're done, if you could take the laundry, that would just be great. But I can understand if you're busy. I mean, that was the feeling that you kind of got.
It was. You are completely right.
I don't know, Rob. I mean, that was kind of the impression you got, right?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really push Hardcore Justice. They seemed to be more focused on the Bound for Glory series and pushing Bound for Glory. And it's like I said on the show after Impact. I'm okay with that. To me, I like the fact that TNA realizes there's a difference between their major pay-per-views and their down cycle pay-per-views, and they don't cram the down cycle pay-per-views down people's throats. They're like, okay, here's the pay-per-view. It's coming up this Sunday. If you want to buy, great. If not, meh.
Yeah.
We want to prep the big pay-per-view. We want to make sure people tune in and are buying tickets for Bound for Glory. That's more important to us than Hardcore Justice.
No, that's fair. Speaking of Hardcore Justice, I guess it's about time we actually talk about the pay-per-view in itself.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? The first thing, headliner thing we got to talk about, first thing I really want to bring up, guys, Chavo Guerrero. I mean, we all knew he was going to win, but, I mean, debut pay-per-view appearance on TNA. Bring the goods or no?
I would say that Hernandez looked better than him, personally, just because he took a lot of the whole offensive moves. Chavo was kind of just like it was almost the other way around. Chavo was supposed to be the guy who was the hero and came on the offensive, got the crowd going, but it was Hernandez who took that role, and I think he outdid Chavo, to be honest.
You agree, Rob?
I could see a little bit of what Lee's saying. I mean, to me, what the match showed is that Chavo Guerrero is dedicated to helping TNA. I mean, he took the vast majority of the match for his team. He took the vast majority of the beating. He kind of helped Hernandez, who has struggled at times in TNA. So I think the match worked to push both Hernandez and Chavo out. And I did see a little bit of ring rust on Chavo, but he's still in much better shape than I thought he would be this quickly into his return.
Well, I wouldn't say it was ring rust. I mean, realistically, Chavo has been actively competing in Ring Ka King for TNA, so, I mean, it shouldn't have been ring rust. I think the major issue here was that we had such high expectations for Chavo, considering, he left WWE in such a sour note, saying he's better than what they were giving him, and this was his real chance to shine, and it just wasn't really up to what we expected, what we wanted to see from him. I think that was a major issue. I think it was a solid match. I love the pairing of Chavo and Kid Cash, but this match as the opening, it was definitely bad placement, and it just didn't live up to what I had hoped personally.
Okay, that's fair.
It was like a house show match, but extended. That's pretty much what it was.
I think that's a little harsh.
No, it's not a little harsh. It was the heels going on the offensive for most of the match, and the faces coming back at the end.
And for the record, Chavo Guerrero was much better than the WWE was using him as. I mean,
there's no doubt about that.
The WWE thought it was great fun to have Chavo get his ass kicked week in and week out by fucking Hornswoggle.
Yeah, at least those days are behind him. Okay, so first Bound for Glory series match was RVD versus Magnus versus Mr. Anderson, because Pope basically wasn't on. He was kind of like teased that he wasn't going to be on when he was scheduled for Impact. He was supposed to have a match on Impact. That got pulled back. He did a segment instead. Then he wasn't supposed to, and we basically talking about how Pope wasn't on there and probably wasn't going to be in the match. Yet Garvin, you stuck with him as your pick on the pre-show. What? No. I want to hear this out, Garv. Why the hell did you stick with him in the pre-show?
Well, I mean, if you really want me to repeat what I said in the pre-show, I mean, the thing was that Pope, out of all of them, I think Pope was the best one in that group. Like we said about Magnus. Yeah, we all like him, but he just doesn't live up to what he should be doing. He's not as good as he should be. And RVD was bad. Mr. Anderson, I loathe and will never vote for. So the Pope made sense to me in this situation. Plus, he was at the bottom. If they were just going to randomly give points to someone, you figure they would feed like a Pope and get him up higher as we get to the end of the series. It just made sense to me, and I think it's unfortunate that, once again, Pope is being lost in this whole mix, especially because, Pope is raving how TNA is awesome because they let us run our own characters and do our own thing and how much better they are in the WWE, and then he gets lost again somehow. It just seemed like a perfect opportunity for him to finally take that brass ring and run with it, and I don't know. I don't know what they're doing.
Lee, what do you think?
Yeah, Garvin's right. Garvin is exactly right. That is exactly what they should have done. And also, Harrison, just because I need to be in Garvin's good books, you voted for Mr. Anderson. Why did Mr. Anderson not go to the back and pin Pope? He was down, he was out, it was false count anywhere.
That's totally what I would have done.
Why would you not just gone to the back?
Point. I have no idea. I really don't know. I picked Anderson because, I think the reason why fans really hated our comments on Magnus is because I think it's something I said on the pre-show, which was that I said, the problem with Magnus in this match is he's not even the best man in the match, and he has RVD and Mr. Anderson there too. And even then, it's like, you're still not the best guy in the match. I mean, come on.
It was. Do you think it was a good match, though?
It was all right. I mean, the problem was, once you took Pope out of there, it was RVD, Mr. Anderson, and Magnus. And it was like, this would have been Magnus's time to shine, and he didn't. But at the same time, I don't know what was booked, what kind of spots were now axed or had to be revamped last minute. Personally, I don't think he's lost in the shuffle. I think something happened. I think Pope has appendicitis or he's injured or something, and that's why he's not in. Because it seems so weird that they would book him for Impact and a match at Bound for Glory, take him out of both, but still have him do a segment on Impact.
Yeah, and with the way Aces and Eights jumped him backstage, especially near the end of the Assault, where they basically put in a shoulder injury into the storyline, that makes me think that Pope was probably injured or sick or for some reason unable to go, and TNA had to come up with a way to write him out of the match legitimately without hurting the character.
I want to say it's an illness, which makes more sense because then, he still cut a promo on Impact promoting the match. So maybe it was like, well, if you're better, then you're in the match. If you're not, then we'll write you out with Aces and Eights. So I don't think he's being lost in the shuffle. I think it's just, he's got the yips. I don't know. Hey, Devon defended his title, TV title, on, technically, if you were watching the pay-per-view, on a television. There you go.
That's ridiculous. I don't know how they can justify the fact that they say they're going to defend the TV title every week on TV, but then when a pay-per-view comes around, unannounced, they defend it on their...
That counts for the week. And Devon was in a match on Impact.
I don't care. They said they defend the TV title every week. Have they defended it every week?
The Bound for Glory series tournament started, and TNA's come out and said that they consider the Bound for Glory series tournament to be more important than the TV title, which tells you what they think of the TV title.
Yeah, but then again, what's the TV title got to do with the Bound for Glory series? Devon's not in it.
You're only allowed to book so many matches per show.
Yeah, I think it says, what does that say about Devon? Even if he does have the gold, they're like, hey, we gave you a title, don't you feel great? Yeah, we're not going to have you defend it because it doesn't matter as much as this tournament we're running.
You're not in, by the way.
You're not in. That kind of, I could just see Devon just kind of like, oh, okay. It's just, you feel kind of bad.
Just kind of slowly walking through the locker room with his TV title, head just like, bowed down like...
and then Austin Aries just kind of walks by and just kind of claps him on the back of the shoulder and says, it's okay, buddy. And then Devon's like, I know. And then he just kind of sits down.
You can see Bobby Roode just like going, you're the TV title. That's all you can see him doing.
Tessmacher lost. I'm
shocked.
Yeah, well, obviously, because you picked.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't be because you didn't vote for her, so shush.
Yeah, I cannot believe Tessmacher dropped the title to Reign. I just still think it's too early.
Rob,
go ahead.
I think they did a lot of damage to Miss Tessmacher's character to continue a stupid storyline with Madison Rayne and Earl Hebner. I sincerely hope TNA knows what the fuck they're doing and has somewhere plausible that they're going with the storyline. Because otherwise they've just pretty much pissed on the Knockouts title and said, yeah, here you go. This is what we think of the title.
Now, Rob, I'd be more inclined to say, well, of course TNA knows what they're doing because their writing's been pretty solid lately, except for Claire. That's like that's the turd in the punch bowl where you kind of look at it and go, well, this kind of proves you don't know what you're doing, or you're having some growing pains. So I look at this and yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm like, what the hell are you thinking?
But how come? And I stick by this point. How come Earl Hebner was refereeing that match?
Well, Rob,
Because he's the senior referee.
But why would you if you're management, why would you have a referee in there that is interfering with matches and clearly favoritism to one opponent?
okay,
Why?
hang on. Okay, look, your country got the Olympics. You cannot tell me
What's this got to do with Britain? Shut the fuck up, Harrison, and let Rob speak.
you cannot sit there and tell me that the Olympic Committee is not the most corrupt organization of people.
No, you're wrong. FIFA is the most corrupt organization.
I've got to
FIFA
side with
award-
him there. FIFA beats the Olympic Committee any day of the week,
does.
and that's
Oh,
after Chicago got fucked out of hosting the Olympics.
Yeah, whatever.
FIFA is still more corrupt than them.
So FIFA, right? Earl Hebner is FIFA. He calls the shots in the referee circles, and he's the most corruptible person probably in the history of wrestling.
He is the most corrupt person.
And he proves that karma doesn't exist if he's able to make out with Madison Rayne. I mean, it's like, oh my god. I mean, if I was Bret Hart, I would just be mailing hate letters to this guy, going, "You asshole."
But then you have to consider Bret Hart. Who gets paid more? Oh wait, it's me.
Yeah, probably.
About that, it's like, how is this your retirement, you jerk? I mean,
Yeah, he's an actual arsehole. I don't like him, just personally, but that's another topic.
yeah, he seems like it. Anyway, Garth, something?
Yeah, I mean, sure, this storyline is annoying, but I mean, realistically, this ending is what we needed to progress the overall storyline. Why wasn't Earl Hebner, removed? Well, he's the senior referee. He's in charge of all the referees. He can make those decisions. Now that he's done it on the big stage, which is what we talked in the pre-show, now that he's done it during a pay-per-view and basically caused Miss Tessmacher to lose the title, that should put him in a situation where he needs to be confronted by management. Like, why aren't you doing your job correctly? Sort of thing. So I think this is just leading to that next step, and hopefully we'll have a resolution soon on this whole situation.
Only it won't, and here's why. Because the way the match ended, the way they had the match written to end, Earl Hebner can just shrug and say, "Well, I wasn't cheating. I just didn't see that Madison Rayne had grabbed the rope. Honest mistake. I missed it."
But then he can watch the TV replay from that. But then later on in the show, he can just completely wipe off whatever the hell thing he did, Austin Aries and Rude did. You can see that perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've just seen. Sorry.
Well, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not disagreeing with your logic here.
It's going to be a hard box for TNA to work themselves out of.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that for the storyline, how they were moving forward, this ending made the most sense, and it can lead into the direction that we want to see, which is them to stop doing this. And it also did another thing. I don't know if you guys got the same impression, but it seemed like Madison Rayne almost turned on Earl as soon as she got the title. She was upset with him that he didn't give her the pin earlier in the match, and when she had her hand raised with the title, she ripped her hand from him and walked out with the title. So it was almost like she was using Earl to get the title back.
It's like we didn't see that coming half a mile away.
Well, sure.
Yeah, no, that was the most obvious thing going into it. Surely that's kind of opposite booking.
Anyway, I don't want to talk about Earl Hebner anymore. I hate the guy too much to devote this much of my life discussing him.
One more point.
Oh.
I know she's been improving, but if you're the champion, you need to be good. So, sorry, that's the end of the story, and Tessmacher is not good, so they needed to take the title off her. I think this is a good decision.
And that was the point I was going to make. I mean, I'm a fan of Tessmacher. I like how she's been working and trying to get better, and she has made improvements. She's starting to get fan support and doing the things you need to do. But when I look at the two of them, as far as in-ring ability, Madison Rayne is much better than Miss Tessmacher is.
Tessmacher's like on the level of like Layla. Well, okay, not that far low, but like.
I was going to say, she's better than Layla.
Yeah, she is better. Sorry, Rob.
Yeah. Anyway, tables match. Bully Ray, James Storm, Robbie E, and Jeff Hardy. Let's be honest. Match of the night? Contender for match of the night?
Contender, yes. I wouldn't call it match of the night, but definitely contender. It was it was an awesome match.
And no one can quite go through a table like Jeff Hardy.
The man's had a lot of practice.
Yes,
I've got to say, the funniest bit about this match was near the start where Robbie very, very nearly put someone through a table and everyone had the worried look on their faces, and Bobby Ray just shouts, "Get on with it, come on, keep going." That was so hilarious.
Oh, you gotta be kidding, man. I was so
I love the part where he used Robbie E to get the table for him. He's like, "Come on, New York, New Jersey." He does a little fist bump. So Robbie E pushes the table in, and then Bully Ray just drop kicks him.
Okay. No, that's fair. X Division title, Zema Ion defeated Kenny King. Everyone saw that coming. Yeah, do you guys like that? Here's the thing. Well, we're gonna talk about this probably a little bit in the world title match. When you have the X Division title bookended by like a tables match, a ladders match, when you have that going on, do you feel like it kind of, I don't want to say it got lost, but the X Division match didn't really have that same kind of pop?
The X Division, when it's sandwiched in between a ladder match and a tables match, the X Division loses a lot of what makes it stand out from normal matches. Zema Ion and Kenny King both gave amazing fucking performances, but it kind of got lost in the shuffle because of what else was going on. And
Right.
it didn't help much. And it didn't help much that Taz and TNA were doing commentary, and we're talking about the other matches of the night more than they were the match that was going on.
I think it was treated like filler, to be honest.
It was
like the mid gap, yeah.
The match got almost no respect at all.
I agree with that.
Okay. What did you guys think about the ladder match? AJ Styles beating. Okay, probably number one contender for match of the night, the ladder match, right?
Yeah, probably. Jesus H. Christ. The ending of the match just was one of the best parts, if not the best part of the match. AJ Styles leaps from the turnbuckle onto the ladder, grabs the contract, and jumps off. Samoa Joe is standing on the ladder with a look on his face like, "That son of a bitch."
I'm surprised no one's done that ending before. It was brilliant.
I don't think many people could do that ending. That ending takes a lot of athletic ability to pull off.
Well, especially with AJ Styles. He got beat up that match. Like, I don't want to throw the term botch around, but he hit the mat face first earlier in the match.
Looked very nasty.
There was a fall to the outside where he hit his head really hard. Like, I'm surprised an injury report hasn't come out specifically for this match to say where AJ is.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I would not be surprised if they had like an interview with AJ Styles and he said, "Yeah, I actually had to decide which two ladders to aim for because I was seeing like 4 ladders."
Like birds flying around his head.
Yeah, it was just it was. I think all 4 people turned in great performances. I loved it when Daniels got sandwiched in the ladder and just everybody took turns using him as a human piñata.
Yeah, this was a fun match. Just the whole thing between Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle, the back and forth that they had was fantastic. AJ and Christopher Daniels was fantastic, and yeah, like Rob, what you said, how they were taking turns with Daniels. It just seemed to flow so well, that match. Like, it wasn't just spot after spot. It was a good story.
And in addition to playing such a good heel, this is the other thing that TNA really has in Christopher Daniels is he is such a company guy. How many wrestlers would be willing to sign on the dotted line and say, "Yeah, okay, I'm going to go into a ladder match and I'm going to let 3 guys just beat the living shit out of me for half an hour, 45 minutes. Yeah, sure, I'll do that."
Yeah, absolutely. So who do you think, guys? Who do you think got like the most, probably the biggest push out of this? I mean, is it AJ for the win? Samoa Joe looked pretty good. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, do you see maybe Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle working an angle the rest of, well, not an angle, but working a match? Basically, working a feud the rest of the Bound for Glory series because now they're pretty close in points.
I'd say no, just because of the fact that they feuded so many times before. That they give good matches, but I think they kind of pass on that just because of the history.
Okay. Garvin, Rob, what do you think?
It's really hard to pick who gets the bigger push out of this. I mean, obviously Daniels doesn't get much of a push except for, people who realize what it takes to say, yeah, I'll let you guys beat the crap out of me for half an hour. AJ Styles seems to get the biggest push out of this, especially given the storyline that he's in, the crap storyline that he's in. But Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe are right there too.
It's hard to pick. That's fair. Okay. So, I'm sorry. Go on. Last point.
No, I'm done.
Okay. Here we are. The honestly, if it wasn't for that ladder match of the night, Austin Aries versus Bobby Roode for the world title, we all picked that Austin Aries is going to win the title. Doesn't matter. Fantastic. All around. I mean, it was the bookend to Hardcore Justice, and now Bobby Roode can't get the title back from Austin Aries. There's no more rematch. Right?
Well, I'd seem to think that Aries will, when Aries drops it, the next title contender will be Roode. Depends how long Aries has a title. Yeah, it depends how long Aries has a title. I suspect not that long.
Really? You think Aries is going to... What do you think is going to drop it before the next pay-per-view? What is that?
No Surrender?
No Surrender?
Maybe not.
So
I
you
don't
think
know.
Drop it Bound for Glory?
I think...
Yeah. Go on, Rob.
I think going along with what Lee's saying here, I think Austin Aries will drop it either at No Surrender or Bound for Glory. And if I were in TNA Creative, I would probably let Roode play the heel, have Roode interfere with the match and cost Aries the match. That way Aries loses the title without hurting his character. Aries and Roode can continue their feud, and now Roode has a chance to get back in the title hunt as well. You've got a lot more options to work with.
I tend to think... Oh, sorry.
No. I mean, personally, my dream match would be Aries versus Storm at Bound for Glory for the title. Storm wins, and then right as Storm is celebrating with the title, Roode comes out and says, "Well, guess what?"
Yeah, that could work too.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things that you're kind of seeing a build towards because, but I mean, look, I've gone on record repeatedly saying that Bobby Roode versus James Storm does not need the title, and I kind of like the idea of Bobby Roode not being able to get the rematch from Austin Aries. Because then it's like, you could have James Storm and Bobby Roode as a main event of a pay-per-view without the world title.
Yeah. Here's the other thing, though, that I have in mind. If you're at Bound for Glory, and the Bound for Glory series, when they have the four-way match, and when the winner wins that, if the winner then loses against, let's just say, Aries, what will that say about the Bound for Glory tournament itself?
Yeah, that's a good point too.
So, because if the winner of the tournament doesn't win the title, then essentially, what was the point of the tournament?
Well, I don't think that has a lot of credibility. I mean, the point of the tournament is just to drive home the Wrestling Matters motto.
But how much better would it look?
Create a situation where wrestling wins matter, and giving people who might not get a shot normal ways a shot at the title.
But how much better would it look if the winner won it? And also, just for the record, the top four at the moment are all people who have been in the world title matches before.
Yes, well, I'm not arguing. Well, James Storm is a relative newcomer to the world title picture. But
he's always been up there, though. He's always been like, because of the friction with Bobby Roode, he's always been. Now he advanced the level as
he's
such.
been up there for like the last year. That Bobby
exactly.
Roode. But outside of that, he was never somebody that was thought of as a world title contender. He was thought of in that group of people who should be title contenders, but were getting pushed out of the picture by people like RVD, Mr. Anderson, Bully Ray, Kurt Angle, a lot of these older wrestlers who were not TNA originals.
Okay. Garth, you got something for us?
Yeah. One thing that I noted in the pre-show was that if Aries lost because he was the face, he could appeal to management and have them give him a rematch due to if Rude screwed him over. Well, technically, we kind of saw that. If we want to include the Earl Hebner part of it. I know we don't want to talk about Earl Hebner, but he was involved in that final decision, and it's possible that Rude can use that as his loophole to get another title shot before Bound for Glory, before No Surrender, or maybe even at No Surrender. So I wouldn't necessarily count those two out just yet.
Right, but until this Thursday when Impact goes on the air, as of right now, Bobby Roode doesn't get another world title shot. I'm sure that Bobby Roode, playing the heel, is going to try to find a loophole and try to get back into the title picture.
One more match.
Maybe. Yeah, we'll have to see. All right, so there it is. Hardcore Justice. The predictions that we all laid out. The winner was Joe. He's tied for me now with 2 pay-per-views, and then as X number of picks, which we'll reveal at the end of this thing. But anyway, Joe won. Who gives a crap, because it wasn't for me. Anyway, Bound for Glory series standings, James Storm, Rob Van Dam, Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, and Bully Ray, top 5. I'm kind of surprised about RVD still being up there, but there you are. That's your standings. I think they're going to start eliminating people pretty soon because Robbie E. and Pope are all the way buried at the bottom. So if Pope's injury, sickness, or whatever is long term, I'm sure they'll start taking people out. Because last year they started eliminating people, right?
Yeah. Last year, well, first of all, last year there were a lot of people who were eliminated by injuries, either storylined or actual. And they've kind of hinted that they're going to be doing the same thing this year because there were a couple of the Bound for Glory matches where they've said, so-and-so only has X number of matches left in the series. So it's vital for him to win. Like, I think AJ Styles is in that category. He only has a few matches left, so he needs to win pretty much every match he wins. He's in.
Okay. So, opinion of Hardcore Justice. Solid pay-per-view? I thought it was pretty good, and I'm kind of bummed it didn't get enough of a push going into it. But, that's just me. What'd you guys think? Good show?
I'm going to say it was missable, is my verdict, because the match of the night for me was the main event, but the ladder match was good. But bar that, I don't think it was good enough to warrant the money you pay for it.
Yeah, that first hour kind of sucked for me. I think out of the first hour, the best match was Devon versus Kaz, and it shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
We led off the second hour with the tables match, so that's when things really started to pick up. But, looking back at where we've been, this year with Sacrifice, Slammiversary, those were awesome. I can't really call this an awesome show. It didn't carry the same emotion and excitement that past pay-per-views have. But that's not discounting like the last hour and a half, last 2 hours. I think there were good elements, but across the board, I wouldn't say it's missable, but I wouldn't say it was where it needed to be.
Yeah, I'm with Garvin. The first hour was a struggle to watch. The show started to pick up in the second and third hours, but the problem is with a pay-per-view, you need that first hour. You need those first few matches to set the tone, to get the crowd involved, and TNA just didn't hit it this pay-per-view, and it wasn't up to par with the pay-per-views that have been going the last few months. It was a slight drop-off. I enjoyed the pay-per-view overall, but it wasn't as good as the last couple of months have been.
Okay, awesome. So hopefully, things will get better with No Surrender. All right, so now we're going to roll out of TNA Town and into WWEville. And
WWE.
Yay!
we're going to talk SmackDown, and who better to have us help you get through SmackDown than the PW Torch SmackDown correspondent live in the FTW Chopper. Mike, are you there?
Hey, I'm here, guys.
Hi, Mike.
Hello, Lee.
How you
Long
doing?
time no talk to.
It's been a while.
How's everyone doing today?
We're all fine in the UK. How are you?
I'm great. My belly's full from a nice pot roast sandwich from Fatheads.
Great.
Life is pretty good right now.
Great. I'm so happy for you.
So guys, how about SmackDown?
No one cares about SmackDown. Let's just talk about food.
Everyone
That
cares
is a
about
good point.
SmackDown.
Right,
Everybody cares about SmackDown, especially my reports on pwtorch.com every weekend. At SmackDown Report. You can check it out now.
Which are a day late. What?
First week of Booker T as GM. What do you think, Mike? I mean, do you think he's doing a pretty good job? I mean, do you think the booking of SmackDown has improved since they decided to apparently pay attention to the show?
Yeah, it was okay this week. SmackDown was pretty average. Booker T, I guess, did an okay job. He came out, he was in his hometown, he did the spin-a-rooney. What he did this week kind of wrote itself. I did like that footage they put on WWE.com of him canceling the match between Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio. I think they're doing a good job with using Booker T so far as the SmackDown GM. As for the rest of the show, I thought the matches really weren't there this week. I think the average match time was like 3 minutes or something.
Yeah, it seemed short.
Yeah, nothing really went on too long this week. But the best part of the show, I think, was the interaction between Daniel Bryan and AJ. Their little interview that they had. She announced that he'll be facing Kane at SummerSlam. That was definitely the highlight of the show. We can also look back and see that this will be the last appearance of AW in the WWE.
Yeah.
He gets fired and he gets prime placement on SmackDown. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
To be fair to WWE, I don't really think they could have edited it.
Yeah, I agree.
Just put a black bar over his head and then just make like a buzzing noise every time he talks. They could disguise his voice like they do in those cop shows when it's like a witness reenactment. Yeah. And he's it's the guy who witnessed the murder.
The digitizing of the face and then
exactly.
the deep voice.
All right, so but the other thing, Mike, I mean, come on, it feels like. Do you think with Jinder Mahal and Ryback, do you think they're kind of coming to the head of we're going to make that turn on Ryback where he's not going to come out and squash people all the time, where he's actually going to finally have a decent feud and some decent matches?
Yeah, I think they definitely turned the corner on that a few weeks ago, and I like that they're using these lower card guys like Jinder Mahal, JTG, Hawkins, and Tyler Rex. I mean, they're credible enough to where you think that they can get some offense on them, but they'll end up getting squashed. And right now, I like the direction that Ryback's going. He's finally taking bumps for guys and doing longer matches. So I mean, so far I like what they're doing with him.
Okay. Ray, the other thing I want to talk to you about was Sheamus and ADR going to no contest. I mean, Booker T canceled it and everything. I mean, how do you feel about that as a way to end SmackDown?
I really didn't like that bait and switch that they did at the end there. I think they'll end up, Sheamus will end up fighting Alberto Del Rio anyway at SummerSlam. He's going to be that kind of fighting champion. They'll say, I want to fight him anyway. He'll want to get his revenge. But it was kind of smart to have Alberto Del Rio have those rent-a-cops come out and jump Sheamus and then kind of put some heat on himself. He he's really needed it the last few weeks. Alberto Del Rio's been kind of stale, and this kind of gives him a leg up on Sheamus heading into SummerSlam.
Yeah. Garv, what'd you think?
I don't necessarily like what they're doing between ADR and Sheamus, but it does add something interesting, you know. And adding something interesting to the Sheamus storyline is always a good thing, because otherwise he's boring to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like how they did it, but I like how they involved Booker T in the post-match or post-show video that they put it on WWE.com. I thought that was nice, but I'm not necessarily thinking they're going to book Sheamus versus ADR. I wouldn't be surprised if they leave ADR off of SummerSlam and replace him with someone that's currently not on SummerSlam, Randy Orton.
That's possible. I had a different prediction for that. I posted earlier on Twitter my thoughts on SummerSlam. I think they'll still do Sheamus versus ADR. Start the show off with that. Have Sheamus beat him, and then Dolph Ziggler cash in Money in the Bank, beat him, and then face Jericho for the title, and see if Jericho can really win the big one later in the show. They keep talking about that big match that Jericho's having, and facing Dolph Ziggler. I wouldn't exactly call winning the big one unless you have a title or something on the line. I think they could use some clever booking for SummerSlam this year, and that's a theory I'm going with.
That's an awesome idea. Let's hold that off until our SummerSlam talk later on in the show, just because I have something to add to that as well.
Okay. Lee, you got something?
Yeah. How bad is it that we're literally 5 days away from SummerSlam, and we technically haven't got a world title match, and they've cancelled it. Does that suggest this is the world title runabout here, and there's no definite match for SummerSlam? One of the second biggest pay-per-view of the year. Does this not suggest how badly they're treating the world title at the minute, or is it just me?
No, I see this is the thing that Joe keeps bringing up, that it should be given some prestige and everything. It's still just a prop, and it's still just a plot device. So when it comes to this, I don't like how, like Mike says at the end of SmackDown, it was a bait and switch. But as far as using it in some manner, I think the fact that the match is canceled and there's so much tension built around the fact that now, like you're saying, we may not have a world title match at SummerSlam. I think that kind of shows the power that the title still has, in that, it still has tension. People are still upset about it. It's not like we're talking about the Intercontinental title or something.
Yeah, plus, the other thing that it does, though, it makes this week's SmackDown a must-watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to find out what they're going to do.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's something that they rarely do. They rarely build up the next SmackDown.
But does it depend on if you like Sheamus? Because if you don't like Sheamus or the world title, you won't care.
Well, you can say that about anything. I mean, you can say when Cena's holding the WWE title, if you don't care about Cena or the WWE title, what do you care? It's well.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't care about Cena, and a lot of people, criticize him constantly. But they have to watch Raw. But they have to watch Raw because it's Raw.
Well, when he was on SmackDown, I mean, you could make that. I mean, you could make that argument about practically anybody. I mean, I don't see how that's a fair argument. Is there anything else for SmackDown that you guys want to discuss before moving to Raw?
No, not really. I thought it was surprising to see Christian go over Antonio Cesaro. I thought they would protect him more, especially against someone who's kind of who's kind of fallen off that path like Christian has, where he's kind of on the back burner right now, and they're not really doing anything with him. I thought they'd give him a clean win over Christian, but I guess they have other plans for that.
Okay. Time for Raw. Lee, how about the fact that we got to see CM Punk win 2 different matches in one night?
Very strange. Very, very strange. The fact that, CM Punk is literally, well, technically he's still not been in the main event as such, but the opening was a bit weird. You could kind of tell they were holding back in the first 5 to 10 minutes, so you got the feeling there was something else coming on the way. And when they announced the tag match, it was pretty predictable. But at the same time, it did give you a hook to keep watching.
Yeah, that's fair. Ryback. Well, I love. No,
Yeah.
first the JTG segment, and he's like, I've never been on Raw, and then he comes out, and it's like, hey, JTG is gonna wrestle. How about that? And then they actually reference him bitching on Twitter, which I think is funny. And then he's going up against Ryback, and it's like, man, just the highlight of that match was him yelling at the ref saying he doesn't want to get pink eye.
Yeah, it was hilarious. So, someone on Twitter though noted that this is typical WWE. You say something, you speak out against WWE and you get destroyed. So, someone said it on my Twitter. It's typical WWE to make it look very silly.
Yeah. As soon as they put JTG on there, I thought to myself, well, it looks like they're starting his farewell tour. See him job on SmackDown and then future endeavor on Saturday.
Well, who knows? Maybe he'll be the new Zack Ryder. In that he'll get huge heat and fall away. Only without any of the fan support. I mean, I thought it was funny when he came out. It seemed like half the fans were going, I could remember you. Oh, JTG. Yes. Thank you, announcer lady, for reminding us who this was.
Harrison, I think you'll find he's got his own clock.
Yeah, we talked about it a lot. Yeah, JTG's been employed by the WWE, and it's just a running timer.
It's like one of those countdowns to St. Patrick's Day. It's countdowns until future endeavor.
Anything else, Lee, that really leaps out to you as far as something, what's your favorite about Raw?
The Ziggler Miz Jericho match was very, very good. Like, very good. It was one of the best matches I've seen this year from Raw. If them two were given, like, triple threat matches are normally quite bad, but this one was brilliant. If they'd have been given a bit more time, I reckon they could have, they could have nailed it. I also think the Piper's Pit segment, after watching it again, was pretty horrible. I don't know what the hell Roddy Piper was up to, but he was on something, clearly. He was just all over the place, and it didn't mix well. You'd think, like, Jericho, Miz, Ziggler in the ring, be perfect. It was anything but that.
Well, I think the problem with Piper is that we've always kind of thought, hey, Piper's really weird, his character's so out there. I think Roddy Piper is just slowly sliding into dementia, and that we've never really noticed until now. So, like, for the past, 20 years of his career, he's been seriously just going crazy, and we're all like, that's part of him, I mean, it's Roddy Piper, it's part of his character. It's really not. He's actually going insane. So I think that's what happened in the ring, because, the thing is, what was he doing? Who came out? It was Miz came out last, and I remember Piper standing there on the mic going, Y2J, Y2J. Well, Miz's music is playing, and you can kind of see Ziggler, looks at Jericho, and just, I mean, the best part was, Vicky Guerrero was just trying to keep her distance from him, like he could snap at any moment.
Yeah.
and on top of that, when Vicky was doing her excuse me, he just kept talking over her.
Yeah.
He would not let her get her phrase off.
Yeah.
I think with Roddy Piper, the phrase that's appropriate for him is, I ain't as good as I once was, but I can be good once as I ever was. He can come out. He can come out there once every so often and do a good Piper's Pit. But if you wheel him out there more than twice a year, you're really rolling the dice.
Yeah, I don't think it's wheeling. I think you just kind of wind him up and send him out there. I think you just kind of he's like literally he's like a live. He's fireworks. You don't know how it's going to go, so you just kind of throw him out there. He'll be good on camera. We'll talk about him for a week, and then we'll forget about him.
And you can tell they really sent him and Jericho out there with nothing. I mean, they went out there for 90 seconds and had nothing to say to each other. They just went out there to waste time until Ziggler and Vicky and Miz came out, and to me it was just such an awkward exchange. And Cole hit the nail on the head when he said, that this terrible Piper's Pit is,
it's terrible.
Yeah, he said something like, "Oh, it looks like Ziggler's out here to help out this terrible Piper's Pit," or he said something along those lines. I thought that was hit the nail right on the head there.
Yeah. Lee, I gotta ask you this: John Cena, CM Punk, Big Show, Daniel Bryan, was that not probably the best storytelling match you've seen in a long time?
I was very, very surprised. It was really well done. Daniel Bryan in there, for me, made the match. That's just me personally, but I don't know where the hell Big Show has been hiding what he did in that match, but it was brilliant. Why do they not do this more often? You just wonder. Compare the previous match before this was Caitlyn and Layla, who beat, Beth Phoenix and Eve, which was probably one of the worst matches I've ever seen on Raw in a long time. Layla looked awful. And then compare it with Cena and Punk, just It was. You're right. It was brilliant storytelling.
No, my favorite part of the entire thing was it was just wall to wall. I mean, just like the forced tags, the fact that all four of them didn't like each other. Daniel Bryan yelling at Big Show, and Big Show's like, you know what's fine, fuck you, buddy. I'm gonna go over here and sit down. You know, I loved that. I just loved that so much.
When you saw John Cena do the knee to the face, you know what CM Punk does in the Bulldog.
Yeah.
Good God, that looked awful. Good grief.
Well, you can tell he was out of practice. It was still great, though. I would have lost if John Cena would have went to the top ropes and then did the Macho Man salute with the elbow drop. I mean, that just turned that to 11 if he would have done that. Because every single one of those fans that chant Cena sucks would have just threw shit at him.
Oh, yeah, I'd throw a chair at him if I could. It was a nightmare. I've got to... Go on.
Well, when Punk started doing the shoulder hits and then does the side slam, and then that's when they announce it, and then the crowd starts to get on it, and then he looks over and Cena sold it. No, he's like, "You motherfucker, what are you doing?" Oh, those two have such chemistry in there. It's amazing to see.
Yeah, it was really good. They can really work a match, but we saw this last year at SummerSlam. These two know what they're doing. They can work a match, and so can and pretty much all the guys who've been in the ring have versed each other, and they've all been very good at what they've done.
Yeah, it's very easy for them to hit their stride. Mike, what do you think?
Actually, I missed this match.
Really, dude?
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, I missed everything from the Divas match all the way up until the Lesnar destroying Shawn.
Yeah.
You missed nothing during the Divas match.
Well, Damian Sandow got a pretty decent push over Christian, so clean win too, which is pretty awesome. Yeah. I mean, I kind of like Damian Sandow. I think the fact that he's getting a decent push on Raw it spells good things, right, Lee?
It was quite a good win over Christian. Christian's doing very like the Chris Jericho cycle. He's putting over younger talent as such. And Sandow should be very good when he becomes in that category of in there with the title.
Yeah, I think he's got a really good upside to him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he develops. Hopefully, he doesn't kind of fall to the wayside too much. Now, here's the thing: I did want to bring up this point for the Triple H Lesnar thing, and I want to kick it out to you guys. This whole Triple H Lesnar storyline, if you look at it a certain way, it becomes much, much better. And that is if you consider Triple H and HBK as lovers. This storyline, amazing. Because you think about it, if you think that they're gay, Triple H is essentially trying to protect HBK, who is upset that his essential boyfriend is living this vicarious life that he can no longer do because he's retired. So that's why he's constantly trying to be in his corner and in the ring and around that. Then Lesnar exploits that to bring Triple H out. How Stephanie fits in this, I don't know. I guess she can be a beard. I don't know how you want to figure it. But I just thought about it during the contract signing. I went, because before that, the segment before that, like the little bromance moment they got going on, I'm like, oh my God, if these two if they were gay, this storyline would be awesome because it would just be an amazing storyline.
I've got 3 points on this. 3 points. The first point is that was the weirdest ending to Raw ever because they ended the contract signing, then they went to a break with nothing else advertised, and everyone was confused to hell. Then they came back. Then Michaels got taken. They then went to another break. Didn't know if that was the end. Then they went to the ring again, where Triple H. Eventually, it was very good. It just took a hell of a long time. The second point is Raw finished for the first time ever. For the first time under 2 years, like within 5 minutes of the overrun, which was
I believe it went off at 11:02 or 11:03.
It did. It was a record, which was very good. And the third thing was how good was Paul Heyman? How good he made that. He really did. His promo work was brilliant.
So someone on Twitter posted that they should do a reality show with Paul Heyman of him just driving around LA in traffic. He's in a fender bender and I'm sorry, my fault, don't worry, my bad. and Sean's yelling at him and he's apologizing.
No,
who was the heel in that segment?
Yeah, it was great. Brock Lesnar, the heat between Lesnar and Triple H would not be nowhere near where it is right now if it wasn't for Heyman. I mean, it's all Heyman. I mean, it's not even like half Triple H, half Heyman. It's all Heyman for this whole feud. And it's amazing to see how much one man can do with a microphone and no match.
Yeah, the effect of Lesnar from Heyman is 10 times better than if Lesnar was on the mic. It really, really adds a difference, and it's very clever from WWE to add him. I mean, it's it's the obvious choice because of the history, but it adds so much more. If Lesnar was talking on the mic, you'd just be you wouldn't take him seriously.
Mm-hmm. You really don't, because he just sounds like such a southern bumpkin. And
I like him when they do those UFC style promos, where he's he's sitting in the gym, whatever, talking about what he's going to do to his opponent. I like that part of it, but if he was on the mic every week, it'd be over.
Yeah,
it would not be as impactful.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, whenever he's on the mic cutting a promo live, you're like, nah, you seem like too nice of a guy. It just doesn't buy it because he's not being edited. All right, so SummerSlam is this Sunday. And we have a special that we do, pre-show, Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern on FTWLive.com. Join us and we'll discuss SummerSlam in more detail as SmackDown does its thing and see what it changes to the card. But first off, we got to talk about SummerSlam. Biggest things going into it, I mean, other than, for me, I mean, it's the WWE Championship. I don't give two shits about the rest of the card. CM Punk, Big Show, and John Cena. I just want to see if Punk's going to retain the belt with John Cena there because, I mean, we got... I mean, Rock is coming down the train. I mean, he's going to want that belt. So,
I think Harrison that because Triple H and Lesnar is the main event, you'll see Punk retain. Is my favorite. I think Punk will retain. Big Show will definitely not win it. That's 100%. Big Show will not win. It's between Punk and Cena, and I'm convinced CM Punk will win. Even the placement of the card with Triple H and Lesnar as the main event, which it will be, but the main event says to me Punk wins because they've only just got going with the whole tweener kind of Punk style. Punk will definitely win, for my opinion.
All right, that's fair. But let's just go down the card. I mean, we have the speculated tag championship between Kofi Kingston and the Primetime Players. Anybody think Primetime Players?
No longer speculated. They announced it on Raw. It's official.
Oh yeah, right. Sorry. So it's the actual match. Anybody think Primetime Players are going to possibly win this one? I mean, even though they did lose AW.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the Primetime Players are going to win tonight on Sunday. Kofi and R-Truth, they've been kind of stale and just really in the background the last few weeks or so. And I'd really like to see the Primetime Players win. I think they've got a nice hot act, and I'd really like to see them win the tag titles.
All right.
Yeah, I think the Primetime Players are going to win here, too, if for no other reason than just the WWE seeing if the Primetime Players can do anything without AW.
That's a really good point, Rob. That's a really good point. Okay, so pre-show, U.S. Championship, Santino versus Antonio Cesaro. Santino retains or drops it?
I say he drops it.
Rob say he drops it. Lee? Mike?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Lee. I insist.
Oh, thank you, dear sir. I'm going to say Antonio wins. I think this is the end for Santino. He's been a useless title holder, in my opinion, and with a decent opponent behind him, he can really drive the US title, and he can really make it meaningful again.
Okay. Mike, who do you think?
I think that there will be some kind of DQ or count out. I think maybe Santino, will win by DQ or count out.
All right, that's fair. So you're taking Santino. I'm going to take Antonio Cesaro for basically the reason Lee has. I mean, he really hasn't done much, and if you really want to prove that Santino doesn't mean anything to the WWE, have him drop his title in a pre-show on YouTube.
Yeah, to me, that's the reason I don't think he's going to drop the title is because it's a YouTube pre-show. I think if they're going to drop the title, they'll do it on TV, where everyone can see what happens.
Maybe.
But the only argument I have against that is that we haven't really seen. Well, I don't remember seeing one, but a title change on the YouTube pre-show, and that was something we had talked about before. That if they did have a title change, that would make it a must-see.
And it's SummerSlam as well.
Yeah, so I'm totally the opposite of you, Mike. I think if they were going to take the title off him. This is the best opportunity, and it would get more people to watch the YouTube show for the upcoming pay-per-views.
Yeah, it's just like the Money in the Bank loss, cherry pop. It's just like, well, it's got to happen some point. And Santino's kind of like the best one that could do it, I guess. He could drop it, and he wouldn't lose any momentum.
But not that they would pop a rating on TV or anything, but I think they would rather have it on TV than a YouTube channel where, it's more of a business deal that they have and not really their, not their main show, not their flagship. It would be like having them lose the title on Superstars, I don't think they would go for something as low level like that.
No, but I'm completely against you. I'm with what Garvin said. If you drop it on the YouTube channel, you'll get more people viewing the next time to see what happens.
I agree with that 100%. I just don't think that they think that way.
I hope they do.
Well, this is the U.S. Championship we're talking about. It's not like it's not like the WWE values this championship highly, anyways.
Mm-hmm. Just like the TV title. It is like the equivalent. It really is.
I loved the TV title.
Kane versus Daniel Bryan. We haven't seen Kane, and did we see him last week?
Wow, Garvin's betraying Team Beard.
Yeah, Garvin, you're taking Kane? What the hell, buddy?
The only reason why I'm taking Kane is because thanks, Lee. I'm taking Kane. I don't know. I'm really torn on this match because I would like to see Daniel Bryan win, but I don't see why they would involve Kane and not have him win, even though that's the trend.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna say Kane's gonna win.
Jesus Christ, Rob.
Well, because if they don't have Kane win, I mean,
I'm
Kane's
sorry.
become
Have I
pretty
offended
useless.
you, Lee?
Yeah, you offended me. You broke my heart, nearly.
I'm sorry.
No, Garvin.
Harrison. Oh no, that doesn't surprise me. Harrison following the trend. Where have I heard that before?
I'm with my libertarian brother from another mother. Garvin's got a good point. Why would you bring Kane in the match if not to win? I mean, do you still push AJ versus Daniel Bryan on SummerSlam? I mean, she's the GM.
Yeah, but Daniel Bryan has the best way to get out of a match. He can just fluke his way out of a match and still be over. Cheap ending.
They wouldn't do that on SummerSlam.
Kane doesn't need the win. Bryan
Why?
does.
How doesn't he?
Because Kane isn't relevant. Bryan is.
Neither guy really needs to win. I think Bryan's over enough to where he doesn't need to win, and Kane is just such an established tweener that it doesn't matter if he wins or not.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter if Kane wins or not, but if Bryan wins, at least it will add some slight credibility to his to his whole character as such. He doesn't need to win, no, but he's more value. He needs to win more than Kane does.
Yeah, see, I think this match is going to be basically the storied match of the night. They're going to have some kind of interference or distraction on Daniel Bryan to cause him to lose, to further that, to further the momentum where they're taking him, where he's going crazy and he's not going crazy, that sort of thing. So I think to benefit him is to lose right now. Okay. Kane, no, he doesn't need it. No, Kane is not relevant. But for Daniel Bryan, I think the better story is him losing.
Fair enough.
And getting angry.
Mike, you agree or disagree?
I agree with that. Gosh, I really don't know who to pick. Like, it's almost 50-50 to me. I'll go with Daniel Bryan.
Well done. I respect you a little bit more inside.
Mike takes Daniel Bryan. All right. Intercontinental Champion. I'm going with my boy Miz.
Yep, there's no other winner than The Miz. He's only just won the title. There's no way he's losing that quickly.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell Joe is on picking Rey Mysterio. I'm going to go with The Miz here.
Rob's taking Miz. Mike, you with me? Hometown hero?
Yeah,
Miz?
Mike's taking The Miz.
Yeah.
Hey, I get it.
Rey Mysterio's on a two-strike wellness policy job tour.
Yeah.
He's got to shill some more of those plump onesies. All right. Here it is. Probably what Lee's saying is the main event of the night. Probably will be the main event of the night. Triple H versus Brock Lesnar. I don't trust Brock Lesnar in the ring, let alone with someone like Triple H, who is kind of in the twilight of his career. Still looks good. He can still cut a promo with the best of them, but I really I just don't think this is going to be very good.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: Who's Brock injured that you don't trust him?
It's not injury. It's just I don't trust him because he just.
No, you don't trust him. You don't trust him because you watched Extreme Rules. That's why you don't trust him.
Well, it's that. It was when he did the bump against Cena, and they decided to play that up. It's like that kind of stuff where it's like he just doesn't. I just don't trust Brock Lesnar to put in a quality match. It's like he's got the size, he's got the talent, he's got the speed and everything. I just don't look at him and go, that guy's going to put in a great main event. It's just like, yeah, I don't know.
And since Joe's not on the show to take the heat for me saying this, I've said this before. I'm right there with you, Harrison. You know, I've watched Brock in the UFC. I've watched him in his first run with the WWE. I've watched him since he's come back. He just doesn't strike me as somebody who knows what he's doing, let alone deserves to be in the main event. I don't trust Brock Lesnar with a main event. It's not going to be a good match at all by any measuring stick.
What was the main event of WrestleMania 19?
Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle. I believe that was like a 4.5-star match.
It was fun, and it was. Yes, Brock did screw up like the shooting star press, but that was a brilliant match.
Yeah, a move he shouldn't have been doing in the first place. And if you read his book, he was talked into. He didn't want to do it. Yeah. Was pressured into doing it. See, I think Brock is a tremendous worker, and I
agree.
I have nothing but praise for his work, and with his new kind of like MMA gimmick that he's doing. It adds a sense of like realism to his matches, not in like he's shooting sense, but you know, in everything that he does looks like it hurts. It looks like it's credible, and I think with like Shawn Michaels involved and all the bells and whistles they'll have for this, I won't be surprised if they turn it into a no DQ match or whatever they're calling it these days, no holds barred or LA street fight. I think this will be a tremendous match. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, maybe my short-term memory is bad, but I didn't think his match against Cena was like that bad, considering he hadn't been in the ring for however long. He was out of shape. Now he's in shape. And just like Mike said, he's a good worker. He's adding a lot to the realism with his new fighting style and whatnot. I think we're being too critical on this match. I think it's going to be a quality match. Main event worthy? Yeah, why not?
I hope it's not the main event, but I think it will be the main event.
Well, since it ended the Go Home Raw, I think it has to.
I think if it didn't have Shawn Michaels involved, it might have been,
Mike, like last hour, WWE said HBK has broken his arm and will not be at SummerSlam.
I don't buy that for 1 minute.
No, I don't buy it. but for the meantime, I reckon he'll come out and try and save the day. But I still don't think it'll work.
Yeah, I think Shawn might end up inadvertently causing Hunter the match.
I hope so.
And just one more thing, I do want to say that I am really looking forward to this match. I thought how they ended Raw was awesome. I think that really built up this match more than they had before. Like before, with all the segments with Stephanie McMahon, it was just getting kind of lame. But the way they ended Raw like that, I thought was fantastic. And I think out of all the matches on the show, this one is the one that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, I think this will end up being match of the night, to be honest.
You know what? Maybe you guys are right. Maybe I have been too critical on Brock Lesnar because I do think about that Angle match, and it was amazing. I mean, when I think about, but it's like every time I think about the hype, I think about Lesnar and everything about him, and then I just think about moments like that, like you're talking about the shooting star press and stuff like that. I just think about those horrible moments where it's like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. And I don't know, maybe I have been too critical on him, because when you look at him, it's hard to ignore him. He is, like Mike says, he is incredibly talented, but I guess I just keep remembering the misses and forgetting the hits, and maybe that's why. Regardless, I'm picking him to win the match because I think a Brock Lesnar win would be more amazing to the storyline than a Brock Lesnar loss.
Yeah, he definitely needs this win over Triple H, especially after that match with Cena, where everyone thought it was a foregone conclusion that Brock is going to put him away. If Brock Lesnar loses this match, he'll have zero credibility for whatever his next match will be. I assume it'll be Survivor Series.
Yeah, he'll be Jericho'd.
Yeah.
That's fair. Anybody else? Yeah. Rob, you took Triple H.
I did.
Contrary.
Okay. Okay, does anybody really think HBK won't be there? I have no doubt he's going to be there.
They've already advertised him. He'll be there. I don't care what WWE. Exactly what Mike said. I don't care what WWE.com say. He'll be there.
Yeah.
I think they'll do something like where he'll come in, he'll try to help Triple H, Brock will beat him up, and Big Brother Hunter will try to look after Shawn, and they'll end up costing him the match.
Yeah. That's a possibility. Dolph versus Jericho. I mean, here's the thing. I like the idea of Dolph winning and then cashing in later against Sheamus to take the title. I mean, I like the idea, so I'm going to stick with Dolph winning, even though Jericho keeps saying how he can't win the big one, or they keep pushing that. So this would be another way to kind of push that, maybe.
The problem is, though, Jericho's set to go, like, literally after SummerSlam, so I can't see anybody else.
Nobody knows how long he's leaving for. I mean, everyone thought that he would be done after Money in the Bank, and then it turned out that he was only doing shows, midweek, and was able to make all Raws and house shows. So, I mean, nobody really knows for sure.
No, he said that he's going. There's a date 20-something of August. I can't remember the exact date, but it's literally just after SummerSlam. So if Dolph wins, then I don't know. I can't see. I don't think he'll cash in just because if he wins, which I think he will. I don't think he'll try for it. I don't know why though, because it's such a grand stage of SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Mike?
Like I said earlier, I think they'll start off the show with the world title match, like they do at WrestleMania. I think they'll start out with Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio, assuming that match still happens. I think it will. Like I said, I see that starting off the match. I think Dolph cashes in and wins Money in the Bank at SummerSlam right after that, and we'll do a title defense against Jericho that night. Maybe have Booker T come out and make it an impromptu title match, and I think Jericho goes over, winning the big one.
That's another good one too. Yeah, I guess this one's all about the timing. All right, Mike, I'm with you on that one. So it'd be Jericho wins the match. Because we don't know how long he's going to be away for, but Lee brings up a really good point in that he has to win something. He hasn't won anything. I mean, whether or not you want to call it the big one or anything, he hasn't won anything of note since he's come back. He's got to do something.
He's got to win. He has to win, as far as I'm concerned. But at the same time, you've got to have Dolph do something.
Yeah,
that kind of adds up to the cash-in.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Dolph needs to win too.
Yeah, it's kind of an awkward one because it's going to be a great wrestling match, but who the hell wins?
Well, of the two guys, as far as career-wise, that would need it most, it would be Dolph. I mean, what Jericho hasn't done, and Jericho has made a career of putting people over in situations like this.
Yeah, but
you're right.
It seems like Dolph just always loses, and the fans kind of expect it. And I mean, it's his wins and losses, like Jericho, really don't matter because people really aren't behind. Like, people aren't behind him as a winner yet. Not like a Daniel Bryan where people think he should easily beat Kane, or CM Punk should easily beat Big Show. He's not at that level yet. I really. He definitely needs the win. I mean, to start establishing him, especially if he's gonna be a world champion. But I'm gonna stick with Jericho though.
Okay.
Maybe they'll let him ride out into the sun if he is going away for a while. Maybe they'll let him ride out into the sunset with a big win.
Dolph maybe can't. Well, they could give Jericho the big win. Dolph cashes on Raw and then cheats to get the title back. I mean, they can always do something like that. I mean, Jericho doesn't have to leave with the belt. It's just, I just look at the situation. I'm like, I just think about Mike's scenario, and Lee's got a really good point. And so, I'm going to go with Jericho. Garg, you're taking Dolph?
Yeah, I totally understand what you guys are saying, but I think, that's one thing that we've hit pretty hard was that Jericho needs to win this match. Jericho needs to win that match. And we've said that just about every single pay-per-view, and he hasn't won. So I don't think he needs to win this match. Considering he is going to be gone for a few months, he doesn't necessarily need to leave on a high note. He's already leaving as a fan favorite. And I think that's enough.
I think it could work if he won, and then Dolph beat him down afterward. If he won, then Dolph beat him down afterwards, maybe, because then you kind of have Jericho winning, which will settle him up for whatever he's doing with Fozzy, and then Dolph's still got the upper hand.
Yeah, I don't know, but DeGarv, the only difference is, up until this moment, they haven't referenced the fact that Jericho hasn't won, and now Dolph's been hammering that home.
Yeah, I was just about to say the exact same thing.
Yeah,
this is
the
first time that Jericho's losing streak has really been brought to the forefront of his of a match he's having.
Yeah, and I mean we've been talking about his losing streak since WrestleMania, essentially. That's when we first started saying, all right, he's got to win something. I mean, he didn't win Royal Rumble. Okay, we can understand that. I mean, that felt like last minute, but then he didn't win at WrestleMania. We're like, what the hell? So, yeah, I think this is the first time they've really actually started mentioning it. So,
and even with like all that CM Punk stuff around WrestleMania, we were saying he needed to win because we didn't think that they would continue the storyline with him losing, and they did.
Which was awful.
Yeah.
All right, World Heavyweight Championship, Sheamus versus ADR. As of right now, because of SmackDown, it may not happen, but we're going to say it's going to happen. It'd just be ridiculous if it didn't. Who's going to win?
The fans.
Wow.
Well, for me, I'm going to say Sheamus. Well, I guess I could give it to ADR, have Dolph cash in, win it from ADR to get that push, and then defend it later. I guess I would rather see. I don't know. I mean, can Sheamus survive that hit, wins, and then drops the title to Dolph? If that's the case, or that's the scenario that we're batting around here. I mean, can you see or if that happened to ADR, do you think that would just destroy ADR?
No, I think it would make Dolph a babyface if he cashed in against ADR, and I don't think they're willing to go that route with him. They teased it a few months ago when he wanted Vicky to get rid of Jack Swagger, but it looks like they're firmly sticking with Dolph as a heel. And if he beat ADR, he would definitely that would turn him babyface instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wouldn't want to see a Dolph versus Alberto Del Rio heel versus heel feud either.
Oh, it would just be like a quick squash match. Well, feud. Yeah, I can see that, yeah. Lee, you with us with that one?
Yeah, it's such an awkward one because we know ADR probably isn't winning because it would just be pretty silly.
Is it awkward like going on a pizza?
Do you know what? Just Galvin, you can edit this out. But you know what? You can all go and fuck yourselves.
I just killed your momentum. You're on your way to a great point.
I'm always on the way to a great point. Then some douchebag American interrupts me and then says, "Oh no, you have a pizza topping we don't like." Just because I'm different doesn't mean I'm special, okay? If that's what you're thinking, all right?
Oh, hop hop, cheerio! We got the Olympics. Hop hop.
Just because you eat.
You're on the way to a great comedy point when Lee just stops midpoint. You know what?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, bust out the recorder.
It's just like politely, you can. Well, do you know what, Harrison? I'm gonna let you off. You are now above Mike in my estimation, which is saying a lot. He's saying a lot.
Well, he is taller.
I am tall.
Sorry, Harrison, I stole your heat.
Yeah.
Mike's like the bottom of society right now. He's like the drug. He's like the guy who just claims benefit for the sake of it right now.
Over here, we call those people Brits.
But funny enough, over here we call these people dickheads. There's a coincidence in there somewhere.
Huh.
Anyway,
you say coincidence, I say synonym. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Lee. Well, it's not like it's not like his country invented the English language. Lee, what do you think? Sheamus wins, ADR wins?
What do I think? I think you ruined the English language. What do you think?
I think you perfected it.
Rob,
You
save
ruined
us.
it. You ruined the English. No, but Rob can stay there for a minute. You ruined the English language. You made up so much shit.
Okay, first off, you can't tell Rob to stay there. He's been here since episode 3. If Rob wants to interrupt you, he's
I like Rob. I like Rob, and Rob is politely being very nice and letting me make my point, which is cheers, Rob. Thank you. And just because a dick like you who hosts the show doesn't mean you have full control of the show. You know, sometimes Brits can come in and interrupt it. You know.
Okay, fine. Then and regale us with your amazing British wisdom.
What do you mean British wisdom? You just need to look at me and you'll see British wisdom. It's like William Regal. Just look at him. He's perfect. You don't need anything else. That's it. You just look at him. That's it.
This whole sequence proves to me that they don't have T-ball in England.
I don't know how the hell T-ball comes into this, but
I don't know what the hell you're on about now.
Because I keep teeing up a segue for you to come get back into the show, and you keep missing it. Come on!
I hope you get teabagged, by the way. I'm on the subject of tea eating.
okay. Well, first of all, I'm going to briefly agree with Lee here. I do think that there are a large segment of Americans who have completely destroyed the English language. Having said that, I'm going to pick Sheamus to beat ADR, and I agree with most of you guys. I don't think I don't see Dolph cashing in because I don't know if Sheamus could survive losing. Dolph can't survive losing if he does cash in, and Dolph cashing in on ADR is just bad any way you cut it. There's just no win scenario with Dolph cashing in at this moment.
Okay, that's fair. Lee, real quick, give us your pick.
I'm going Sheamus. I completely agree with Rob. I'm not really sure Dolph can handle it. I don't. It's a good enough stage, but I'm going Sheamus just because it's been like that for the past bloody God knows how many pay-per-views. So I'm going to go with Sheamus again.
Okay. WWE
And that's a Brit picking an Irishman to win, so
Damn
you know.
fucking right.
So-
and we don't even vote for them in Eurovision, so you know that shows how much it is.
Okay,
And
so
if you
Lee, you don't think he's going to cash in?
No.
Okay, so you're not saying it. But Mike, you are saying he's going to cash in, right?
Yeah, it was my scenario.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm with you on that one, so Scarvin. Okay, WWE Championship, CM Punk, Big Show, Cena. I mean, I'm taking CM Punk wall to wall. I don't see him dropping it just yet. If only because then possibly Cena gets a lot more matches coming up for the draft. Yay! But we'll get to that later. What do you guys think? Lee, real quick.
I think CM Punk's going to win. I can't see Show winning it just because it's Big Show, and there's no reason for him to win the title. It's between.
Big Show.
It is. It's just big. Exactly. It's just Big Show. He doesn't need to win, and there's no point in him winning. He's just. It doesn't fit any kind. If he wins, it would be the worst thing to happen on that show.
The sad thing is that's the only real reason you need. Big Show's not going to win. Why? Because he's a Big Show.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. It's absolutely silly.
Okay.
But Cena shouldn't win this just because Punk's just started his tweener kind of / heel turn as such. So it would be very silly to take the title off him now and give it to Cena. So yeah. I'm going with CM Punk.
All right. Mike, you agree?
I'm going to lay out two scenarios for you. One I think is going to happen. I think CM Punk's going to retain. I could also see them playing hot potato with the title between now and Royal Rumble, to kind of have some intrigue as to who will face The Rock. They did it last year where every pay-per-view the title was changing hands. They seem to like to do that in the fall. I wouldn't be surprised to see Big Show or Cena win it this month, and then someone win it next month, and then someone win it, 2 weeks later at the next pay-per-view. That wouldn't surprise me, but my official prediction, I'm going to go with CM Punk.
Okay. No, that's pretty fair. I mean, in the back of my head, I'm also kind of thinking that if Cena could possibly eke out a win on here, because I mean, the part of the fun of Punk is him railing against the establishment. Even now, he has the WWE Championship, and he's playing himself off as the underdog because he's like, how come I'm not in the main event? I'm the WWE. How come the WWE Champion isn't in the main event? So Punk against the establishment as the underdog is always great. And Cena taking his belt from him kind of plays that. But Lee's got a really good point in that he just started doing that. And I think taking the belt off of him now isn't a good idea. Maybe in a month, maybe 2 months. But, yeah, I mean, I just think Punk against the World is such a great and compelling storyline.
You know, funny thing, quick point. They did a poll over at ProWrestling.net asking the readers, do you want to see Punk as a heel, a face, or a tweener? 51% of people voted they want to see him as a tweener.
Yeah, I have no doubt, because you want to like him, and he's so good in that role.
Yeah. Well, I was surprised that people didn't vote for him to be a face, with as popular as he is, or even to be a full-fledged heel, which that would be my vote. I'd like to see him go one way or another instead of being kind of ambiguous like Kane.
Yeah, that's fair. Garv, what do you got?
2 things. One is the fans voted that they wanted to see Rock versus CM Punk a couple weeks ago in that Raw poll. So I don't think that they're going to... I think maybe that was Raw 1000. I can't recall.
Yeah.
But
Raw 1000.
That's a sign that they can't take the title off of him because that's the match that people want to see. The other thing is, yeah, I totally agree. He is pushing this thing where it's, you know, he needs to force people to respect him. That's what he's going after now. And if he doesn't have that title, he doesn't have a lot of leverage. So he needs the title to continue that. And I really want to see that. I really want to see him continue that momentum and that anger towards those who have been disrespecting him. So I got to go with CM Punk.
All right. And okay, so you're going with Punk. Garvin's going with Punk. And Mike, you said you're going with Punk as well.
Yeah.
And Rob, you're sticking with Punk too.
Yeah. For all the reasons that have been said. I mean, there's part of me that thinks that Cena could win here. Like Mike said, you know, when it gets to the fall, they like to play hot potato with the title. But
yeah,
with the current storyline that they're working with Punk, Garvin hit the nail dead on the head. I mean, he's fighting for respect. He's doing he's back to being as close to his original character as WWE will allow him to be. If he loses the title, he's got nothing with which to get respect for from people. He's got nothing to demand that respect for. So I think he has to retain the title.
Yeah, exactly.
I also think it's pretty big that they every week they count down how many days he's been champion as well.
Yeah,
they're really pushing that he's a long-term champion.
Yeah, and I'm starting to think
WWE is really pushing up his title reign. They're really trying to sell him as a legitimate champion.
And I think that's one of those death knell things for the Undertaker streak. That and the DVD. I look at that and I think WWE is latching onto some kind of streak they can go with, and I think that's going to be the next big one. But I don't know. I'm just grasping at straws with that one. Anyway, Summerslam pay-per-view special this Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At FTWLive.com. Join us as we discuss it. It's going to be a blast. We have the question of the week, which we did last week. We're rolling into this week too. Since SummerSlam's 25th anniversary is on the 19th, Robert asked us and the fans, in the 25 years of SummerSlam, what was your favorite SummerSlam match? If you guys got your picks, great. If not, we can discuss them next week. I just want to toss out mine. Mine was also tossed in by a fan. Mine is Taker versus Austin for the championship in '98. If you think you got a better pick, let's hear it. Facebook, Twitter, let us know. Email it in. However you got to do it. That'd be fantastic. Time for the FTW Draft, ladies and gentlemen. Take it away.
Okay, well, as most of those that were involved in the draft, we tried to force the first round today because I'm unable to read a calendar, apparently. So, anyways, we're going to move forward as scheduled. The live draft starts technically tomorrow. I have picks 2 through 5. I'm going to release those first thing in the morning. And then Lee's going to pick up. His deadline is from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. So let's just run through that list. First pick, Joe. Second pick, RKO Voices. Third pick, me. Fourth pick, Christopher Purrington. Fifth pick is Harrison. Sixth pick is Lee. Seventh pick is Amanda. Eighth pick is at McBrad95. Ninth pick is Connor. 10th pick is Hogan versus McMahon. That That's his name, I guess. 11th pick is Rob. 12th pick is at Radio Influence. 13th pick is Scott. 14th pick is Kevin. 15th pick is Diva Jill, and the last pick is Mike, which you've earned. You've earned that last pick.
Because I'm the champion.
Yeah.
So
I am the best.
Basically, we're going to start at 7 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, Eastern time, and we're going to go all the way till 10 o'clock at night. Everyone has an hour to get their picks in. Now, luckily, for the first day, I've already got the first 5 picks, so we can hopefully run through this pretty quickly. Rarely we go the entire time because everyone just kind of funnels through really well. At least that's how it's been the last 2. So we'll see. But the first pick, officially the first pick of the draft, picked by Joe, Ryback.
I knew it.
Well, it was the safe pick.
A very safe pick. He's been on a roll. I don't know. He wins 4 matches a month, and he's been put on a pay-per-view. That may change with how they're building him with Jinder Mahal now, but realistically, that's by far the safest pick for the next 2 months at least.
I not for the next 2 months, maybe for the next month, just because like they're already doing that thing where they're making that turn. I mean, when was the last time we saw Brodus Clay in a match? And he would have been a solid pick 2 months ago. We would have said, "Oh, Brodus Clay, you got to pick him," and then we haven't seen him in like 3 weeks. So,
but those are 2 different things. I mean, because Ryback is now finally getting backed by the crowd. They're not just chanting Goldberg now; they're actually chanting his catchphrases. "Feed me more." The fans are completely behind him, it seems. So I think for sure that's a train that they can ride for at least 2 months.
Time for win fail, guys. Your wins of the week.
Women wrestlers aren't getting paid? Why do you do a job?
Here is your win.
You do any job,
and fail
is to fucking get paid!
Of the week.
Go, man. My top roster's gone. Rob, what's your win of the week?
My win of the week has to be fucking AJ Styles. That jump from the turnbuckle to the ladder, grabbing the contract, and then jumping off the ladder before, and Joe just standing there like, the fuck just happened? The contract was there, and then it disappeared. And I just saw a little flash of blue.
All right, Garv, your win of the week.
My win of the week is a tie. I really love the Cena Punk versus Show Bryan match on Raw, but I also really loved the whole HBK segment in the back where he almost hit Heyman with his car. I thought how they handled it was really awesome. It was awkward, but we haven't really seen a sweet segment like that, a sweet backstage segment like that in a long time, where you didn't know what was happening and it seemed like it just seemed real. I thought so. Yeah, those are my wins.
Yeah, last time we saw something like that was a year and a half ago, I think, with not Triple H, Big Show, I think. Anyway, Mike, you got a win?
Yeah, my win of the week's going to go to the triple threat match between Ziggler, Miz, and Jericho. That was a phenomenal match. I'd love to see that match uncut, without commercial breaks. Those 3 were just phenomenal. That end sequence with all the near falls was just tremendous.
Yeah, my win of the week is, it's kind of I don't want to say it's like somewhat a tie. I just want to, my win and my honorable mention. My win is that Cena Punk, Show Bryan. I mean, these are 4 guys who, they're just gold in the ring. I mean, this was a one of those throwaway tag matches to get you hyped up for the individual matches these guys have, and it was still an amazing thing to see. The other thing I want to give a shout out to is Damian Sandow. Really, really been impressive, especially because I didn't expect that to happen after Raw 1000. I thought when he came out and DX buried him, I thought, well, any heat he has is gone now. But he really bounced back well from that. Kind of made it seem like, he has no references to it. WWE's, treating this guy fairly with it. And I want to see where he goes because he's starting to show some really good talent. fails of the week. Your fail of the week, Rob.
My fail of the week is going to TNA for failing to update their fucking roster site. Velvet Sky and Winter are still technically on the TNA roster.
So is Matt Morgan.
Yes, so is Matt Morgan.
Oh, that's hilarious. They need to find, maybe the web developer quit. Mike, your fail of the week.
I'm going to go with 2 fails of the week this week, if that's all right with you guys. First fail of the week. Okay, well, I'll just pick one then. Oh, I can't even pick one? Okay. Thanks, guys. I'm going to go with AJ as the GM. It seems like it's flopping. She's definitely miscast in this role. I do not like it. Put her back to what she was doing. Get her out of those pantsuits ASAP. Second fail of the week, obviously then goes to AW and his post-firing Twitter rant, which really shows that they were right in getting rid of him. He showed absolutely no class after being fired, and I think it'll be a long time before we see him again.
Okay. Mike, your fail. I'm sorry.
Okay, let's go again. I'm going to go with AJ.
But yeah, Mike, I think you hit the nail right on the head. I think he burned any bridges he had with the WWE after that.
Any program. I don't think TNA's going to touch him now.
Yeah, they will. He was in WWE.
Ass. God.
Well, I have 2 personal ones. The first one is my fail is that we couldn't live stream tonight. That kind of sucked, because we love being able to access the live chat and giving and getting everyone's opinions on what we're talking about. I think that's a great part of the show, and it's definitely been missed, this show. My other fail is there's another wrestling podcast I listen to, and I know that's against the rules to basically say that you're on a wrestling podcast and you listen to another wrestling podcast because for whatever reason they fight all the time, but the one I've been listening to lately is Breaking Kayfabe, and they announced this week on their 100th show that they're going to be canceled in September, that they're not going to do it anymore. So I feel that's really sucky because I finally found another wrestling podcast that I really liked. Because there's not a lot out there, to be perfectly honest. And then one more loss, or fail rather, and that is Harrison, you saying that what would have made the Triple H Heyman HBK storyline better is if they're gay. I thought it was fine just as it was. I didn't think they need an element like that. Sir.
No, I just thought not like add it, not like all of a sudden Triple H and HBK been hit with a gay beam or something. But I mean, I just thought like if you
do you want to see them doing it on the air? Is that what you want?
You asked. I'm just saying, like they got that.
I think that's what he wants. I think he wants to see, a segment. Triple H just pushes Shawn into the locker room and just.
Brokeback Mountains it, yeah.
They come back from a break and they're 69ing. Yeah,
if only we had another mud wrestling match between Triple H and HBK.
we know what Harrison's win of the week would be that week.
I'm just saying, it would make, cause the storyline that they have is because they're best friends and everything, and I thought, you know what, if they were in an actual loving relationship, like married, this storyline would be amazing because it wouldn't be that classic, damsel in distress. Because let's face it, HBK has been the damsel in distress for like the past 3 weeks. I mean, it wouldn't be that classic storyline. It would have that element of HBK is Mr. WrestleMania and he's scared to death of Brock Lesnar, but he still wants to be by his man. And I just thought, if they were lovers, this would be an amazing storyline because it would have so many layers to it. Oh, and yeah, my favorite
and full frontal male nudity.
Well, yeah, of course.
What kind of a wrestling show doesn't have that?
Come on, Mike. I mean, Because this is an amateur hour, all right? I mean, TNA may get away with, like, putting black bars over the crotch, but we know WWE wouldn't, go for the full Monty there. My fail is the hell I'm going to be put in next week when the fans, because we're not live, so I'm not getting the fans' reaction to this, but the fans and Joe and everybody just getting on me for the Triple H and HBK being gay thing. I'm not writing slash fiction. This isn't going to be a Harry Potter thing. I just think that storyline would have so much more depth if that was the case. Anyway, Mike.
So you want them to come back on Raw one week and maybe Sean is taking a dump on Triple H's chest and you can herald the return of the Scatitude era?
Garmin just putting the tab 50 Shades of HBK. Okay, all right. I'll tell you guys about this in the pre-show or in the post-show. Mike, if people want to get a hold of you, where do they do that?
You can follow me on Twitter at MJCupach. That's MJCupach. You can also check out my reviews of SmackDown every week at pwtorch.com. I'll be tweeting this weekend during SummerSlam live at the BW3 Arena with the rest, with most of the FTW podcast hosts.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, it should be a good time.
Mm-hmm. It should be a lot of fun. We'll live chat. I'm hoping that you and I will get into another live tweeting argument with Lee, but we won't talk about it except entirely through our phones. Like, we don't acknowledge it as we're eating wings. We're just texting each other. All right, that's it. That's the show. As you can tell, this is amateur hour. We do this in our spare time. We don't charge for this like some people do. But we do work really hard to put on some quality entertainment. We're not asking you for money, but if you want to help us out, you can head to FTWpodcast.com and click on the support tab. There you can donate or buy a t-shirt. We'd really appreciate it. If you want to support us and don't give us money, which is fine, you can also see links there to rate us on iTunes. 5 stars would be fantastic. Rate us on Stitcher. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Once we do that, I think we're trying to figure out a way to get our touts onto YouTube, so that way you guys on YouTube can see the conversations we have on Twitter. Tout's not very good with that, so we're trying to figure something out. And tell your friends, because hopefully they won't be cheapskates like you. Spread the word and help us help you get through the week that was in professional wrestling. Thank you, everyone in the live chat that was not there. Sadness. Seriously, because they carry half the show, and it makes it so much better. We record every FTW podcast episode on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time at FTWLive.com. Thanks, guys, for sticking around, and we'll see you next Tuesday, hopefully. All right, talk to you later.